The aftermath of the deadly terrorist attack on Woro community in Kwara State is unfolding, with reports confirming that troops have now been deployed to the area to restore law and order. Brigadier General Nicholas Rume, who leads security operations in the region, says soldiers have been stationed across key parts of the community to stabilize the situation and prevent further incursions following the killing of more than 70 residents in last week's brutal assault. But let's also tell you that the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has also arrived on the ground to assist survivors, many of whom have been displaced or injured during the attack. Officials say investigations have begun into how the terrorists struck, despite earlier warnings and appeals for help from local leaders.
Meanwhile, security concerns are deepening as reports emerge that some terrified residents have fled across the border into Niger Republic for safety. And in this one, this could signal a dangerous expansion of terrorist networks beyond Niger's northwest into the Middle Belt and southwest. The attack has also raised questions about President Tinubu's absence from the country during the tragedy, as he attended a private wedding ceremony abroad, drawing criticism from citizens who say the government appears disconnected from rising insecurity. Join us now this morning to discuss this latest development and what this means for regional security is a retired director of the DSS, the Department of State Services, Mr. Dennis Amachree. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Amachree, and thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Now, Mr. Amachree, in the aftermath of this deadly attacks in Kwara State, the Vice President was in Woro community, was in Kwara State to pay his condolences over the weekend. The President gave an order that a battalion of troops should be deployed to the area. Brigadier General Nicholas Rume is leading this battalion. How significant is this move, and what does it tell us about the security, the security situation in the area and government's response?
Thank you very much for having me. I think, we have to move away from the normal playbook, because what is happening keep on repeating itself, and it's like a broken record. Now we have 75 Nigerians slaughtered in Kwara. More bodies are even found in Benue. Same ritual. You have condolences, deployment of troops, they name different kinds of operations, and then silence. And then it repeats itself. Now, this particular case in Kwara, the Woro people have already reported to defense headquarters that these terrorists were threatening them. And, from what I read, the defense headquarters actually sent some people to go and patrol the area. They patrolled the area for some weeks and left. And after they leave, the terrorists came in there and then, of course, killed all these people. Then now we are sending a battalion back there again. So it's like a cat and mouse thing that, we are doing, and it doesn't show a lot of seriousness, because I know that the military is very, very well occupied in all kinds of sectors and fighting, but we have to be very systematic about this, because these guys come, kill, and go. And then, of course, the normal thing again, condolences, speeches, and all kinds of things.
Okay, let's look at this. I want us to go deeper into some of the things that did take place during that time. Our residents had highlighted and raised alarm. Security came in after the slaughtering had been done. Yet details concerning if those who perpetrated the heinous act have not been caught or have not been found. And it seems like you said, it's the same repetition of what we see. Condemnation flies in the air. We do not accept this happening. Where do we go from here? How do we proceed in the military, or better still, as a director, former director of the DSS, when such things like what we've seen happen? What is the best step forward to ensure that it doesn't just reoccur, but eventually perpetrators are caught and brought to book?
This is happening. We've fought this thing for 16 years, more than 16 years now, and then of course, when you look at it, the security forces have adjusted seriously to the asymmetric warfare that is on for these years. At least we know that the enemy is not wearing any uniform and stuff like that. And then, of course, different kinds of help. And we've been advocating that, of course, fighting terrorism is not something that a country can do all by themselves. Usually you ask for international aid or, people around your country to help. We have the Military Joint Task Force that has been helping, made up of, Niger, Chad, Cameroon, Nigeria, and of course, Benin Republic, if they are part of it. But also, we've got international helps, like the United States have come in to help. The United Kingdom is coming in to help right now. Last week, there were a series of meetings that were held in Nigeria about coming to help in this. And then, of course, with all these helps coming in, we should be able to have a handle on what is happening, because I think our military is kind of weary because, they fought this thing, like I said, for more than 16 years. But at the same time, new people coming in to help will give some kind of new people looking at the problem with a new, different eye. And I think that should be able to help.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Amachree. I want to push further on that help. You say we've been dealing with this asymmetrical type of warfare for the last 16 years. No country can do it alone. We had a sort of multinational joint task force with our neighbors in the Sahel, but I don't know what is happening with that. And with this latest development that we'll have U.S. boots on the ground, albeit in advisory and intelligence role, not in a combat role, how much difference can it really make? Because critics will point to the French adventure in the Sahel. They had Operation Berkane and Serval, and they didn't really deal decisively with the issue of terrorism. What sort of help should we be seeking from these Western nations, the United States and Britain, and also France in in terms of capacity? Because can the foreigners know the terrain of Nigeria more than the Nigerian military personnel itself?
Yeah, well, when you say that you need international help and these people are coming in, it does not mean that, they are going in with their boots and then, trying to execute the war by themselves. They are coming to work with Nigerians, and they've always done that. Especially for the one in the United States. Nigeria has a long history of working with the United States. Some of our officers were trained in the United States in their military academies. And then, of course, what they are doing right now is addressing practically the issue of terrorism. And then, of course, these soldiers know what they have to encounter when they are coming. So it's not like before, or what the French was doing in the French colonies of Niger or Burkina Faso or Mali. They were there for separate reasons, and their reason was basically economical, But the one in Nigeria here, yes, we have partnership with them. And then, of course, these agreements, the working group that they formed, have gone through all the problems one after the other. And I hope that they will stick to it and then, of course, solve this problem. Because we cannot continue, like I said, over and over again.
What do you make of the $9 million lobbying? We've seen America Now, we've seen videos. I don't know if we could also put out one of the videos for you to also see again, where the subcommittee was talking about, West Africa.
I think our producers should put up that video.
Yeah, let's see that video.
Yeah.
Where they talked about the lobbyists as well. Anyway, we'll try and get that video up for you, but let's see how we can move on with the conversation, and then we'll bring that video back. What do you make of that? $9 million, lobbyists with DCI, and here you have the Americans saying, why are you trying to change a narrative? Why are you trying to change the truth? And how does this look, especially when it comes to, on the other hand, trying to combat and fight the insurgency, but on the international community, you're trying to change the narrative? Is Nigeria really doing justice to this situation? And what would you advise if you happen to be there?
I think whoever suggested that thing should be, answering some serious questions from the president. And I don't know how they convinced him to allow it, because how can you tell the United States what they already know? And then, of course, somebody is just trying to change the narrative by going there to say that, it's not only Christian genocide, there were other people that were also killed and stuff like that, changing the narrative to something else. Look, the United States know more than even some of the operatives that are, doing it here in Nigeria. So it is not a matter of trying to convince them. And, I think it's a waste of money. And then why should you go and pay that kind of money to a lobbyist group, to change a narrative? There is no need for that. Yes, we know that people are being killed, and the United States government has already reacted to it. That yes, people are killed. Yeah, it's not only Christians. Okay, fine. There are also Muslims, but the problem is that the terrorists who are doing this are the targets, and we are going to get them. So what are you trying to, change narratives for? It tells you, or it underlines the fundamental religious and ethnic problem that we have in Nigeria, because we keep on running away from it. First of all, it was, why Sokoto? Why are they bombing Sokoto? But people don't know that it was the Lakurawa and the Islamic State in the Sahel province that they were targeting. And of course, that particular group has a lot of lineages and affiliations with people that are living in Sokoto, state. So, of course, if you want, we cannot continue to allow this to happen. Clerics are preaching anything they like in their mosques. People are dying on a daily basis, and then we are allowing it. Other countries have looked at these things very seriously, and they dealt with it. Like in Egypt, when these terrorists were disturbing them and clerics were preaching all kinds of things, they started arresting clerics. Arrest them and keep them away, because this is not a situation that you play around with national security. So I think we have to really order our priorities. Are we really fighting this, or we are trying to play to the gallery? Because I don't see any reason why we should go and spend $9 million in lobbying the United States government that already know what we're talking about.
Okay, Mr. Amachree, from what we've discussed this morning, one thing we all agree on is that we need to end this endless cycle of senseless violence. And we can't not continue to do what we've been doing before. And some of the things we've been doing before is almost like a playbook, like you mentioned, copy and paste. An attack happens, condolences. They will give you one name, Operation Python Dance or Crocodile Smile. This time around is called Operation Savannah Shield. And many Nigerians say, look, this is medicine after death. This has already happened. You're now sending troops. But from a security point of view, there's a DSS officer in every local government area. in the country. At what point do you accept intelligence as credible, and what are the mechanisms to swing into action to say that, what threshold is there to say that, look, this intelligence we're getting from this place is very serious, is heightened, we need to act on it so that we stop being reactionary. And these troops that have been sent there now, is there any other thing they can do that we can gather credible intelligence so as to prevent the next attack from happening anywhere in the country? Because the military says investigations have begun into how the attack happened, and they are on the ground in this place.
I think we have to look at our state structures and local government structures. We have 774 local governments in Nigeria, and some of these local governments, I've worked in the north, and you find out that some of these local governments are just local governments by name. The local government chairman is in the state, headquarters most of the time. You see the local, even the states. Sometimes the states are so dormant, and until when it gets to around 24, 25, that's towards the end of the month, then activities will start. Because, everybody knows when the Commissioner for Finance has gone to Abuja to get allocation. And then, of course, people will come. And then, of course, by 28, 29, 30, the salaries will be paid. And as soon as salaries are paid, everybody disappears again. So it is something that we need to look at very, very strongly. We have the local governments there. People are supposed to work. DPOs are supposed to be there. Yes, DSS. Every local government has a DSS officer. And of course, these people they are so lackadaisical in the local government. Is from the local government chairman and everybody, is just there, and people don't get serious about government until something happens. Then you see that everybody start running around. So we have to really look at our governance system. Now, governors, all these cases we've been having, belong to the governors. Because it's not the military. We've invited the military to come, and indirectly the federal government. But the governors themselves. It is recently you are seeing one or two governors trying to, react. The governor of Borno State, I doff my hat to him, because he's been the only governor, I think, that has been really working on, this particular problem. Others are folding their hands and waiting for federal government to come. You cannot mobilize these military people, the DSS, the police people that are in your state. Mobilize them and let them do some work for you. But they are very lackadaisical. They are waiting for the federal government to come. And this particular problem is a state problem.
Okay. Since you've said it's a state problem, the governors are now saying that they're receiving more money. I mean, the security votes and all of that. Why is this not trickling down to securing the lives and property? And I want you to also share with us, how long will politicking with this issue continue, and where would it lead Nigerians to?
One word that you just mentioned, a very interesting one, security votes. Security votes. Now, I'm doing a serious research on it, which will come out in my book that is coming out very, very soon, on how governors actually misuse billions and billions of naira in security votes. It's like their pocket money, unaccounted for, and something they just put in there, and then, use it for patronage. And that's why you see the governors are now like little gods, instead of realizing that they are representative of the people, or they were voted in there by the people, they are busy, trying to be paternalistic about it. You beg them, they give you money, you're against them, they pursue you, and stuff like that. And that's why even state police has been hanging in there, because many people believe that the state police people are going to, cause a lot of problem for opposition. The governors, some of them are still not very conversant with what a state police is supposed to be. So all these things are work in progress, and I think we should be very, very serious about it, because if we don't, I don't know where we're heading to. I don't know whether I answered your last question exactly. Remind me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just asking that, what would this mean in terms of politicizing this? Where would it lead to? What would be the end game, if you put it that way?
Well, the thing is that we've already always advocating that, security should not be politicized. But in most cases, you find out that security has been politicized, where, a lot of things are happening. We've been advocating, of course, that the police and the DSS and even the NDLA should be independent, because if they are not independent, and of course they are part of Department of State Services, that is Department of where? Department of the Presidency. We want it to be independent, so that if somebody in the presidency causes problem, they should be able to, bring the person to book. But if they are part of a department, then if they are a department of the presidency, then it brings some kind of hitch in there. So politicization of what is happening, or even trying to give religious undertones of what is happening, is what is actually staggering us backwards.
Now, Mr. Amachree, just before we conclude this interview, my final question to you is, let's talk about the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whose responsibility is it to protect Nigerians? When President Donald Trump called Nigeria a now disgraced country, and he said they will come in all guns blazing, the president then addressed the nation. When the United States, they said it was in coordination with Nigerian security operatives, carried out the Christmas Day bombings, first time in the history of Nigeria that territory will be violated by a foreign country.
It was not violated. It was not violated.
Okay, it was not. It was in conjunction. It was.
Yes.
Yes. It was a corporation.
Yes.
Yes, but it was. I mean, foreign bombs landed in Nigeria, and Mr. President did not address the nation. And just last week, over 200 Nigerians lost their lives in the period of 48 hours. Mr. President has not addressed Nigeria, and Mr. President will be off to the United Kingdom to be a guest of King Charles in a few days' time. What does this say about, is it important for the Commander-in-Chief to talk to Nigerians and, inspire confidence, to talk about the efforts that they're doing, or are press releases by his aides sufficient?
Presidents have their own style. They have their own style of doing things. And of course, some presidents can be very, very delegating. They delegate their authorities and, of course, allow it to run and then intervene when there is problem. Some are hands-on. For instance, the United States president, I was telling some people, every blessed day, go back and check, every day since he was elected, you hear about him in the news every day. And right now he has even brought out a new system whereby in his social media, where he actually runs the country or even do foreign affairs through his social media. And then of course when it's when he gets into the office, then he writes executive orders. He's running the country with executive orders. And this Congress is sitting down there. And then, of course, recently they've started talking about being marginalized. Excuse me. You know, being marginalized. So those are different kinds of governance systems that we have. I don't know, our President Tinubu has his own style where maybe he delegates to people and say, okay, you run it, and when you have problem, come to me. And then others like that, you know. So in the parliamentary system in the UK, you find out that every day they are there to answer questions in the parliament, you know. So there are different styles. And of course, what we want to know is that there is effectiveness in governance. You know, there are things that should not be allowed to, you know, go out of hand. And then, of course, people are looking for their president to come before things will happen. You know, there should be effectiveness in governance.
Okay. I mean, finally, I know we had said finally, but I just want to bring a story up and close to you. There were two militias who had kidnapped two brothers, one a doctor and his younger brother. Sadly, the younger brother was murdered. But the doctor was said to be released after a ransom of 60 million naira was paid. Now, while receiving treatment at said hospital, he saw, to his surprise, the two kidnappers walk into the same hospital in the same area to bring one of the family members. I mean, they brought one of the family members to receive treatment. I'm talking about Auchi General Hospital. Let's just see if we can show you the video. I'm going somewhere. I just have a question to ask.
Be looking at me. Show me. You, they look me. Hey, they look me. Look me.
So those are the two kidnappers. Now, how they were arrested was when they brought their family member into the Auchi General Hospital. The doctor who had been released under their den immediately recognized them and then called the police and said, these are the guys who kidnapped me. My question, as a federal government, as an intelligence personality or professional, is it possible that this can lead to a final solution to solving the insecurity and the cases of kidnapping, seeing that it is bordering within the same locality and these people actually live with us? Looking at that video.
Of course. You know, people, you have to realize that these kidnappers are not ghosts. They are not ghosts. The bandits are not ghosts. They live among the people. In fact, the bandits earlier on in 2014, is it 2015, you know, they were brought into the country. They know them. They were even paying them before they went rogue and started kidnapping and doing all kinds of things. So, yes, they live among the people. They like Lakurawa. Lakurawa is living among the people, preaching their own form of Islam. Sometimes in some places they collect taxes. And that's what I'm saying. Like in Sri Lanka, when they continue doing that, the Sri Lanka government have to come out and say, no, this is against national security and we cannot allow it. You know, and they went ahead and then bear down on them. But in our own, we are too, you know, there is a Bello Toji who is a bandit leader, was even turbaned. You know, he comes around to marriage or wedding ceremonies. And the person that was, you know, doing body with him was later appointed as a minister. So these are things that, you know, are we serious about this? Are we ready to stop it? Or we are just trying to manage it because we don't want to step on some toes? I think Nigeria has to take that decision.
Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Dennis Amachree. Thanks for your time, and thanks for always waking up whenever we call. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.